All right, good morning. It is Wednesday, of course, in Philly, Tampa, and all around the world. And Ed, I think we had to take 2 days. And by the way, thank you for tuning in. First of all, let me say thank you for watching Give Me Five with Ed and Angel. Number one, and thank you for those who made the nice comments and the emails saying as far as what they like from the show. We do appreciate the comments and the feedback because it only makes things and the situations even better. So we do appreciate that. But Ed, I think we had to take actually 2 days before we get things rolling here to kind of recover from, I want to say an extremely ugly loss, but almost an exposure of what you have talked about between your articles and what we mentioned on the last show of the Eagles basically exposing themselves. So it was a tough loss.
Yeah, it was like kind of a punch in the gut, right? I mean, the Eagles were favored by double digits in this game, and I think it was a combination of things. The run defense, I think the Eagles, having played just 2 games in 28 days, I really think that was a factor. They sat around and they listened about how great they are, how can they go undefeated. I heard some of these players on the radio, Sirius XM NFL, talking about the season, being asked, can you go undefeated? So, that's a factor too. And it's good to get this loss out of the way, I think, because let's face it, they weren't going to go undefeated, right? I mean, that's a
Right.
tough thing to do. One team's done it in 50 years, so not easy. So get the loss out of the way now, refocus and regather and get ready for the next game.
That's just it, and that's what we hope for. I'm pretty sure they're going to bounce it back. We know they have the Colts coming up this upcoming Sunday, and we'll get into it on the Friday show, more importantly. But nevertheless, we'll talk about some points here of what went wrong this past Monday. So with that, let's get the 5-minute segment going here. All right, first one coming up here is how bad now are these 2 injuries? One to Dallas Goedert, which we saw last night, and then Avonte Maddox obviously now basically put on the injury reserve list. So how bad are these 2 gentlemen going to be going forward for the Eagles?
Start with Dallas Goedert. That's a huge loss, Angel. No question about it. I mean, he's a big part of this offense. He was the team's second leading receiver, believe it or not. And he was on pace to have a 1,000-yard season right there with A.J. Brown. And now none of that's going to happen because it looks like he's going to miss a few games. I would be surprised if they do not put him on IR. I think they will. And then Avonte Maddox gets put on injured reserve about 3 hours before they kick off the game against the Commanders on Monday night. Big loss. One of their best secondary players, and now you have Josiah Scott out there. So these are 2 huge injuries to go along with the fact that Jordan Davis is still on IR as well, the rookie defensive tackle.
Yep, no doubt about that. And Avonte Maddox obviously being big. I mean, we saw last night a couple of scary moments too for a couple other players that ended up happening. And on top of that, as we still go with the injury bug here, we also look at Dallas Goedert also from the one face mask poll, which I'm really surprised, and I'll bring it up later on with the social media buzz. But I'm really surprised that wasn't called. And you can almost hear Troy Aikman and Joe Buck talked about that was an actual call that was not made.
Listen, I saw it. I'm sitting in the press box. I'm 100 feet away, if not further, and I saw it. And the officials on the field who were much closer didn't see it. It's amazing that call was missed. It wasn't like Goddard was face masked in a pile of players where it might have been hard to see. It was out in the open, and that could have cost them the game. I know they didn't have a great game, came out flat, but, if they get that penalty call, it's not a fumble. They get the ball at the 50-yard line, about 9 minutes to go. Who's to say they don't go down and score with 2 or 3 minutes to go, and then they have the lead, and then they hold on. So that was a really big missed call in that game.
It was, which leads it into that, as I talked about the social media buzz, and again, between that call, and it seemed like throughout the second half, there was more and more calls that were not made. So I don't know, was this, and I don't know if you know it, Ed, or not, but was this a new, I guess, I forget what they call it, when all the refs are put together, the team of the refs that are thrown together for a game, was this the first time this bunch was put together?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that whole officiating thing is very vague, Angel. The NFL doesn't give a lot of info out, and when they blow calls like this, there's very little repercussions against that crew. I don't know if it was an all-star team or not, but that back judge, Scott Helverson, had a really good angle of the play, and I don't know what he was looking at, or if he just couldn't see it. Maybe he needs his eyes checked. but he should have thrown the flag on that. And that guy worked the Super Bowl last year, so he's supposed to be one of the best of the best.
No, at that point, I don't understand. But again, we'll see coming up this Sunday and see what happens. But again, we talked about it in the beginning of the show here, and just now at this point, how bad is the Eagles' run defense, if it is at all?
Well, we're going to need more than a few seconds to hammer this out. But, yeah, I think listen, there has to be some philosophical change here. I know Jordan Davis, yeah, they miss him, okay? He's very good at stopping the run on first down. If you can stop the run on first down and get him in a 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 9, then the defense can dictate. The Commanders picked up so many third down conversions, 12 of them in the game, most since like 1930 against the Eagles. That's because they were getting yards on first down. 2nd down, they're in 3rd and manageable most of the game, 3rd and 4. So Davis hurts, but I think there needs to be a philosophical change. You need to find out, you need to figure out if you're Jonathan Gannon how to stop the run, because teams are just going to keep doing it over and over and over again until they stop it.
Yeah, I believe so. So we'll see. And Lord knows we all miss Jordan Davis, but on our final question here, which one of these quarterbacks remain hot for the next couple games? You have Tua Tagovailoa, Kirk Cousins obviously doing great things in Minnesota, and obviously Jalen Hurts despite the loss on Monday.
Yeah, boy, that's Tua. It's tough to go against Tua Tagovailoa. His receivers, I mean, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are just tremendous. Hurts has some good weapons too. A.J. Brown got hurt against the Commanders. He rolled his ankle, so he was used as more of a decoy. I mean, he had 1 catch for 7 yards. That's not elite wide receiver play, but he had a reason for that. I'd have to go with Tua at this point, but Jalen Hurts hasn't done anything wrong, really. He threw 2 touchdown passes and ran for another against the Commanders. So, he's on pace to put up more touchdowns. He had 26 last year. He's got 14 passing, 7 rushing, 21 this year with 8 games to go, but I'm still going Tua.
All right. I mean, it's hard to say, too. Obviously, the only thing I hope for, and we'll see as the season progresses here, because we saw the back-to-back concussions that Tua ended up taking. Supposedly, he's supposed to be fine. But we remember many years ago from Junior Seau when he talked about it, and it was basically ignored, and then he ended up taking his own life. So I'm just hoping that the NFL continues to get better when it comes to these concussion protocols, because it's important, especially someone like Tua. I mean, you're talking about a guy in his 20s. He's married, has a family, and we want to make sure that these guys are able to play for many years to come. So it was a heartbreaking loss. It was a loss that was needed, more importantly. And we'll probably end up getting into it with the Colts talk as well. But I'm just glad it's over. It's 8-1. The only thing you can do is improve from this point coming up this weekend in Indy. So, Ed, once again, thank you for joining me here as we do our 5-minute segment, Give Me 5, with Ed and myself. And we hope everyone enjoyed it here. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we will see you all on Friday morning. Have a great day.